What's up, guys? Your driver Mike here, back with another live stream. Want to welcome you to the channel for watching the live stream here. It is Saturday. We have a lot to talk about here. A lot of new developments too. 180 days change for Uber, increased tipping from Lyft, more commitments from Lyft, new rating system, improved phone support. Guys, we have a lot to talk about. I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you guys jump in this live stream here, and we're going to talk everything rideshare. Very excited. We have 3 people in here right now already. Guys, I have allotted a solid hour, maybe hour and a half, if you guys have a great discussion like we did last time. We had a really good live stream here. So let's welcome you here to the live stream. Let's take this off in just a sec. Here we go. Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the live stream. Thank you for checking out the channel. If it's your first time here, this channel is dedicated to the rideshare space. So whether you're a driver, a passenger, or someone just interested in the rideshare space, consider subscribing. And again, guys, a lot of exciting things to talk about. Is it the best time to start driving or continue driving for Uber and or Lyft, right? With all the changes that are happening, with all the improvements that are happening to both systems, we should see competition completely rev up and a lot of benefits for you and for me, the drivers of Uber and Lyft. Or if you're just considering signing up for Uber and Lyft, is now the time, right? It's never really been more driver-centric and moving towards a more driver-centric platform than now. But is that true? We're going to discuss that today. Additionally, Uber's announced really something big that they're considering here, and that is offering equity in the company. A company valued at close to $70 billion, Uber is considering giving drivers equity, stock, stake in the company. And that could be valued onwards and years and give you valuation other than the money that you're making right now. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to ask you a question about equity that's going to make you think. So again, want to welcome you to the live stream. We have 4 people here. Let's bring up the live chat. And what this is, I didn't get it right again, guys. This way, one of these times I'll get it right on the first try, but this way, this is the live stream here. So leave a comment. And what this live stream does is, if you're watching this on the rebroadcast, thanks for watching. But this is the live chat that we have during the live stream. And if you guys are watching on the live stream, please feel free to leave a comment. One of the main purposes of this channel is to have a dialogue, an open dialogue. Don't feel shy to leave a comment. I definitely want you guys to post live chats in there, because that creates the dialogue between all of us talking about rideshare. And I've said before, there's things that we can all learn if we're on the platform, right? Nuances, strategies, different things that we can all learn to succeed and earn more. Hey, we have, let's see, Eric, Dean, Juan, and Patrice. Thanks, guys, for joining the live stream here. Eric says he loves the videos. Thanks for taking time to do them. I really appreciate that. Thank you. When you guys leave comments like that, when you leave likes on the live stream, I really do appreciate it. I consider these kind of a live stream roundtable, right, for rideshare, talking about Uber and Lyft, right? That's my specialty. That's what you guys are driving. And again, there's things that we can all do to learn a little bit more, right? There's updates that really happen weekly with these companies. And these small changes, if you don't know, you could fall behind or you could earn less, right? And we want to make sure you earn less, that we all succeed, and that's why we do this, to talk about rideshare. Patrice says, thanks for the advice. Appreciate that. And thank you again for joining the live stream here. Today, no energy drink today, guys. We have a little, not a sponsored video, but we have some Starbucks today. That would be nice, though, right? To have a sponsored video from Starbucks. Hey, guys, here's some free iced coffee. Oh, by the way, guys, something really big for the channel. I want to extend my biggest thank you to you guys. Just, oh wow, yesterday, I believe, in the past couple days, we hit 500 subscribers, and that's because of you. When I started this channel, this is something I am passionate about. It is not only rideshare, but the tech space. And this combination of the two, and it being a way to earn some extra money, or in some markets, earn a full-time income. That's why I started this channel. It's something I'm passionate about tech, about what Uber and Lyft are doing in a new disruptive space. That's why we're here. And of course, we're trying to earn a profit from that. So how do we do that? That's why we talk here about trying to maximize your profits. So thanks again, guys. Let's jump right into it, okay? Let me bring one more thing up here for you. If I can find it. There we go. All right, and you know what? Let's bring our agenda up too, okay? If you didn't catch the beginning part of this live stream, let's go over our agenda. Here it is. All right, so right here is our agenda for today. As you can see, is it the best time to start or continue driving for Uber and Lyft? Related, can you say, is the trend # delete Uber dead in that sense, right? Are we moving to a new chapter of Uber specifically? Because obviously, you know, Lyft has kind of been better. Are we moving into a new, more profitable chapter for Uber? That we're going to talk about today. Secondly, equity in Uber. What is equity in Uber? How is it evaluated? And would you take equity? And I have a big question about that. Again, that's really going to make you guys think. As you can see, again, guys, thank you for 500 subscribers. It's because of you. It's because of your interest in the channel. That's why we're here. So let's jump into the first question here, guys. Is it the best time to start driving or continue or re-download that app that you may have deleted from the #delete Uber campaign? Is it the best time to continue driving to turn that app back on, right? So what we're going to talk about, and I want your feedback too, guys. This is really important, okay? Because I may leave some things out, so definitely contribute. Leave a comment in the live stream or post a comment below if you're watching the rebroadcast. We're going to go over the pros and cons of that question, right? I think it's smart to look at both sides, and that's what I try to do in this channel. I say, okay, yeah, absolutely. Now is the best absolute time. If you're considering signing up to drive for Uber and Lyft, sign up now. It is the absolute best time. No, absolutely is not the best time. We need to do this, this, and this to make sure that profits are fair, that the system makes sense for you, or whatever kind of car you're using. This is why it's not the best time at all to drive. So we're going to be talking about that. If I can get on the camera there, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of that question. Robert, I'm glad I subscribed to this channel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for subscribing, guys. I get emails again whenever someone subscribes to the channel. And actually, in our next live stream, I'm going to try to get real-time subscriber updates. So if someone does subscribe to the channel, I typically get a pop-up here on the MacBook, but we're going to give you guys some real-time subscriber updates so you can see who's joining the team. And it'll pop up here on the live stream letting you guys know. But thank you for subscribing, because that's who makes the dialogue. That's who makes the channel, is you guys, right? Otherwise, it would just be me talking to a webcam and having no audience to talk to, right? I don't want that. I want an open dialogue with you guys. I consider this a hangout. I've said it before. This is the driver hangout, and that's why I have so much fun on here. So, what do you guys want to talk about first? The pros or the cons? I can't get on camera, guys. I need to be more in front of me here. The pros or the cons of that question. Is now the best time to drive for Uber and Lyft? Do you want to talk about the pros, the yes, absolutely, or the cons? No, it's not. We have 10 people on the live stream here. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday afternoon here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for this Your Driver Mike live stream. As you can see, subscribe to join the Your Driver team. This channel is dedicated to the rideshare space, maximizing your profits, earnings, talking everything rideshare. So consider subscribing, guys. And yeah, leave a comment here. What do you think, guys? Otherwise, I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to pick one. So yes or no? You want to talk about the pros or the cons of signing up or considering driving? Patrice says, "Congratulations, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, the 500 subscribers was a great milestone, guys. Oh, and about that, I want to do something for you guys. And we talked about this in the last live stream here. We gave away a $50 gas card for our 100 subscriber mark which didn't seem that long ago, which shows you how fast the channel is growing here. In just one sec. But now we're at 500 subscribers. What can I do for you to show my appreciation other than thanking each and every one of you? We need to do another giveaway. We need to do another giveaway, guys. And I mentioned before, I was thinking a dash cam. I was thinking a Falcon F360 dash cam. The one that I have is meant for single vehicle use. They have another one that's meant for multi-vehicle use. I think it just comes with the different power cords or something. But I was considering the one for a single vehicle use. It's a $150 value. Okay, we can do that, or I can give you the option of doing probably like a $100 gift card. You know, I'm really encouraging the winner to get a dash cam. I think it's really a must. You know, just for your personal and rideshare driving, not just your rideshare driving, but it's smart to have a dash cam. So I was considering doing the Falcon F360, or we can do like a $100 gift card, something like that, gas card or whatever you'd like. So if you like that idea, leave a thumbs up on the video or leave a comment or post some other suggestions. Look for that coming soon, and don't miss the giveaway when it does go live. Typically, we would post links in videos, so you need to be here to enter that giveaway. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can see when I post videos, so you know when that entry link is live. Also, we'll post a link on Twitter if you're not following on Twitter, @YourDriverMike, to know when the drawing goes live. Patrice, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Pros first. Eric wants to talk about the pros. Let's do it, guys. So, let's talk about everything supporting the pros of starting to drive or continuing to drive for Uber and Lyft, okay? Firstly, as you've seen, let's talk about something here. I'm going to get in the right frame here for you. Okay, there we go. As you've seen, this post from Uber that we talked about last time, the 180 days of change. This is a reason why you should start driving, or why if you deleted the app, you should consider re-downloading that app and going online. Maybe not immediately, right? But in the next, again, 180 days, 6 months, now may be the best time to re-download that app, and here's why. Uber announced, finally, the in-app tipping option. Okay, let's think about rebuttals for all of these, right? So you could say, well, hey, I don't really get that many tips. Passengers who didn't tip, they're not going to tip just because Uber put an option in the app, right? Tips aren't going to account for a lot of my income. Well, guys, from what I've seen on Lyft, and I'm sure some of you that drive Lyft as well can echo this, about 10% of my earnings are from tips, okay? So if I'm making $300, right, and you add $30 onto that in tips, would you like that $30 or would you like me to take it away, right? Obviously, you would like that 10%. If you could earn 10% more income, why not? And again, you're not doing any other real, let's say, quote unquote, effort to earn that. You're just providing the good customer service, professionalism that we talk about. So why not, right? Now, it's only live in 3 markets, Minneapolis, Houston, and Seattle. But this is going to be added for everybody at the end of this month. Actually, it's July now, okay? So why not? That's a great time and great consideration to start driving for Uber and Lyft. Secondly, new rating systems, okay? A lot of us are unhappy or have at least expressed concerns about either platform's rating system, Uber and Lyft. Obviously, it's a 5-star system. Actually, if you guys aren't even familiar with Uber and Lyft system, it is a 5-star system, okay? Rate your driver 1 to 5 stars based on service, okay? Anything less than 5 stars, and you heard me talk about this in the last video, really anything less than 5 stars is failing. Why? Because every market has their deactivation threshold. If your rating gets too low, Uber will boot you off the system. There goes your income, okay? Especially if you're a full-time driver. If you get deactivated, what happens? If you invested in a car, if you are leasing and you're paying that weekly lease on a car, okay, what happens if your income's gone, okay? You have to turn that lease in. The new car that you just purchased, maybe you can't make the payments anymore, okay? Let's talk about our part-time drivers, right? If you are saving up for a trip or an anniversary or whatever it is, what if your side income is gone, okay? And you were using that to save up for something, or it was helping you out in between jobs, right? So it all comes down to those ratings, and you need to have good ratings, but it's kind of open-ended. What does it take to get 5 stars? Okay, so now Lyft has announced first that there's going to be a new rating system. They called it a revamped rating system, and I don't know if I have their email right here, guys. I don't, but that's okay. Okay. Uber and Lyft is saying, hey, we know that come a little closer here for you guys. We know that the rating system needs improvement, okay? If Lyft were to say, guys, we need to revamp this rating system, I mean, that is inferring a complete overhaul. And since Uber's announced this 180 days of change, it's most likely that Uber's going to revamp their rating system too, partly because Uber and Lyft mirror each other pretty closely, okay? So that's another reason to consider signing up to drive. There's going to be big changes. There's going to be big changes to the rating system, okay? Before we move on, what are your thoughts, guys? Let's hear your thoughts about tips, okay? Are you encouraged to receive tips on the Uber platform? How much of your earnings comes from tips if you currently drive on the Lyft system, okay? Do you see any problems with there being tips on the Uber system? Let me know. Eric is liking the Falcon F360. I think I may do a choice on that giveaway. You know, it's whatever you guys want. If you want to choose the Falcon F360, or if you want a $100 gift card. Last time we did the gift card to any retailer of your choice. This time I think I'm going to try to frame it closer to rideshare for you guys. Now, but it can be what? An AutoZone, a GetGo, a Sheetz, a Wawa, something that's driving related. I don't know, but we'll probably do either. You know, you can choose a Falcon F360 or a $100 gas card. So again, guys, do you have any comments on tips on the Uber platform here? Let me know. We have 11 people on the live stream. Thank you guys for joining this live stream on a partly sunny day here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Again, really appreciate you guys joining and celebrating 500 subscribers on the Your Driver team here. Really appreciate it because of you guys. See, hey, Randy. How's it going? Randy K joining the live stream. I vote gift card. See, that's pretty cool because you guys are kind of 50-50 on what works for you, and that's okay. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do a choice. You know, whoever wins, you can choose. We'll do it that way. Eric likes an Amazon gift card. Yeah, you can. We'll do an Amazon gift card, whatever you guys want. You know, you can spend it on whatever, I guess. But I do encourage, like last time, to do it for something for rideshare to help your business out. Okay, cool. Any thoughts on tipping? I'm not seeing anything on tipping or the revamped rating system. Any thoughts, guys? Good, bad? Tips are great. Tips are bad. Tips are not bad. What I found interesting, and what you may have seen in the last live stream, was it? When we talked about tipping, we talked about this 180 days of change in more detail. Let's take this off. I'm going to take that off so I can get a little closer. There we go. There was an option in there on Uber's platform because you have to acknowledge tips. You have to say, yes, I want tips. There was an option in there to say, no, I'll take tips. I don't really want to receive tips, which I thought was pretty interesting. Eric, tips will be reported. Randy, I think it gives customer an option. Yeah, no, an option to tip, I believe is what you're saying. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining the live stream. DMT Lewis, thanks for joining again. Nice to see you again. I'm going to comment on something that, where is it? Where's the comment? That Eric said. Tips will be reported. What does that mean? Okay. As a business owner, right, as an independent contractor, you obviously need to report income to the IRS. One thing that drivers have said is obviously with cash tips, there's really no paper trail, let's say. There's no documentation that you received that tip, okay? It's your job legally to report all of those tips, your earnings, to your CPA, to the tax professionals that you work with, because that's part of your income. If you made $300 in that week and you received $30 in tips, you need to report that $30 as well. Do all drivers do it? No, they don't, okay? And that's kind of the reason is they're not reported, so the IRS would never know technically. And again, I can't advise on doing that, guys. It's not really traceable at all. So, I mean, I can't say if there'd be ramifications of that, but I wouldn't advise on doing that, guys. I wouldn't try to skirt any tax laws. Tips do need to be reported if they are cash tips, but again, not all drivers do it, you know. But like Eric said, Eric, where's your comment? I'm losing your comment, Eric. Oh, there you are. There you are. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was you. Like Eric said, with electronic tips right through the app, those are going to be automatically reported because if you guys are new to driving, Uber will send the IRS a copy of your earnings, basically. Now, there's deductions. We're not going to get too much into this, but there's deductions you can take that Uber lists as possibly income. You need to look at that. We did a video on taxes, a general overview, nothing too detailed, but we do have a video on the channel about taxes. Robert, gotta go. Have a blessed day. Thanks for the video. Yeah, appreciate you joining. Stopping in here real quick. You can always watch in the rebroadcast. Appreciate you popping in here. Rob, thanks again for joining and commenting. I feel like Uber is telling passengers not to tip or they are not encouraging it. Good point. We've always seen unfortunate verbiage from Uber that tips are not expected or required. That's the exact verbiage that Uber has used recently. Tips are not expected or required. And I saw that verbiage recently on an Uber Eats website, right? There's a million websites for each city and, you know, for Uber in general about what the system is like. That's what was on there. So it's not required or expected. Well, they're kind of expected. Now, if you're a passenger or an Eats user, I'm not trying to infer that you have to tip. You do not have to tip, okay? They're only expected in the realm that, you know, it's a possibility, right? If we provide exceptional service, that it is a possibility. But for Uber to infer that it is not a possibility, that is completely something that's unheard of, that why would you tip? That's not the correct verbiage to use. And they've actually gotten in trouble for that. We're talking years ago. Wow. Let's see if I can remember, guys. Tips are, I think they said tips are not required, right? And they actually had to legally change their verbiage. I think they were reprimanded for that. But they had some verbiage that really discouraged tips. Something like that. Okay. Let's check out your comments here. Still got 11 people on the live stream. Appreciate it, guys. Lewis, DMT Lewis. They said they added the phone support tab option, but that was a lie because I don't see it on my app. Are you talking about the Uber or Lyft app? Rob, I used to get a lot more tips about 4 months ago. That's really interesting. Really interesting. Appreciate you putting that in there. Is that on the Lyft platform or the Uber platform or both? I would actually have to track my tips. And I did have a log here on my phone because, you know, I log my miles, but I logged my tips as well because, again, you have to report those. Excuse me. You know, I would write down tips, and I'd be interested to see if I track those tips if mine have gone down as well. DMT Lewis, on the Uber app, he is not seeing a phone support tab. Now, the phone support that I saw was from Lyft, okay? I'll tell you guys that. In the email to drivers this past week, Lyft announced, and you'll see it in the video that we did, a revised rating system and phone support, okay? So I knew that Lyft was adding overhauled phone support. I'm not sure about Uber. Uber has had an emergency number, I believe, but we'll have to look into that. Trying to keep up with the comments here, guys. Eric, Uber trained customers not to tip. Hopefully they will help re-educate customers. Yeah, I kind of agree with that, okay? Again, the verbiage when they first launched was really discouraging and kind of almost scolding passengers for tipping, right? Which was, really a bad thing for drivers, obviously. And I agree with Eric. They do have to pretty much re-educate passengers to tip. They need to text passengers. They need to email passengers. They have to have in-app notifications that says, hey, tip your driver. Don't forget to rate and tip if you would like, something like that. I agree. James, thanks for joining the live stream here. I think that's your first comment. Let me see here. I believe so. Yeah. Thanks for joining the live stream here, James. James says, this is why I only drive for Lyft now. Tipping's big, guys. Again, I've said if you have the choice between both, before Uber announced tipping, okay, if you would take the Lyft ride or the Uber ride, both being the same rate, you would obviously take the Lyft because it at least has the tipping option, okay? So I kind of agree with that. Apples to apples, if they're the same, why wouldn't you take the Lyft app with tipping? Eric, Uber phone support is only in certain markets. All right, got you guys. Thank you for that insight. And actually, there you go, guys. That's why we do this roundtable, because I learn new things as well. Yeah, I knew they had like an emergency number. That's good to know, guys. In certain markets, phone support. Maybe a pilot. Okay, let's move on. Let's continue to talk real quickly about the positives of signing up or continuing to drive, and then we're going to go into the negatives, both of which are really interesting to me, guys. Okay. One more thing here on the positives. A shorter pay window upon arrival for Lyft, okay? And I think it's actually Uber as well. Let me check my phone app real quick. What this means is when you arrive to your destination, yeah, Uber as well. I'm seeing it right here. Starting today, this is from Uber, riders will pay for the time spent waiting at their pickup location. This charge begins 2 minutes after you've arrived and continues until the trip starts. We know your time is valuable. Thank you for driving with Uber. And we talked about, we won't get into this too much, but we talked about this last time, is that some pay for waiting, is better than zero, okay? And I believe you're just getting paid the per minute rate, which is not a lot, but it's better than zero. And Lyft, I believe, is doing the same thing. And Lyft announced pay if you're canceled, if the passenger cancels after 2 minutes in transit. So more nuanced ways to make sure that you get the right fees and the right pay for your time. Okay, again, it's not extravagant pay, but it's better than zero. Hey, Randy, just starting with Uber, so I need encouragement. You've come to the right place. You've absolutely come to the right place here, guys. It's my passion. I love the industry. I love the tech that's behind it. Again, here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I don't go a day without seeing an autonomous Uber either. And we talked about those autonomous Ubers. Just to touch on those real quick, they're still years and years out. Do not worry about those taking away, tons of drivers' jobs. There's not a ton of them out here. There's a good amount. They're confined to a very, very small area. So I don't see those taking over the market really anytime the next, safely 2 years, 3 years, okay? And there's some legal issues with that as well, as you guys may know. Randy, yeah, if you need encouragement about driving for Uber, because that's what you're starting on, definitely the right place here. And some other good channels here on YouTube. You can do some searching, obviously, but if you're not subscribed already, consider subscribing. I'm not sure if I've seen you before, I believe, but definitely do like talking with anyone new or experienced drivers about rideshare. Simon, thanks for joining. I just started driving in Buffalo, and I know that some of my rides thought that tips were included in the price. Can't wait for the updated app. Simon, big announcement for anyone in New York, all right? Outside of New York City, we'll say. If you're in New York, you guys just got Uber. I'm talking in the past week or so, okay? Like Simon says, oh my gosh, guys. Like Simon says, just like the game. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up here. But you guys in New York, you just got Uber. Okay, you can now start making some side income with Uber. Okay, now I know some of these markets is pretty rural. Okay, my girlfriend is from the upstate New York area, and it is more rural in some parts. So you may have longer ETAs for pickups. Consider that. Okay, but what I would do in any new market is you be the spokesperson and you get the word out, okay? Get some Vistaprint referral cards for new passengers or new drivers in your area, okay? Go to message boards, go to post on community boards and coffee shops. And we did a video about Lyft referrals, okay? Since you guys just got Uber in New York, spread the word, okay? And Simon, like you were mentioning, make sure passengers understand that they can tip in cash right now, okay? And also tell them in-app tipping is coming at the end of this month, okay? Be that educator, okay? Because some passengers may be confused about what works on the Uber system, what doesn't. Imagine if a really popular new rideshare company was live right now in our markets and we downloaded the app, we would have no idea how it worked. It's kind of the same thing for them, right? This is new for everyone in that New York space, so let them know, educate them. Randy, I've just subscribed. There's some dialogue going in there, guys. I'm trying to catch up as best I can here. Glad you guys are having a good dialogue in the comment section here. So let's move on. Let's talk about the cons, okay, the negatives of considering signing up to drive for Uber or Lyft. Really the, what's the word? Yeah, the cons of driving, okay. So with Uber, they have the price discrepancy of upfront pricing, okay? And this is a concern for a lot of drivers. This is something that's been expressed to me, all right? And I should really try to compare with my passengers to see how much this discrepancy is, if it's still occurring, okay? Because this really was peaking 2-3 months ago. I'm wondering if it's still prevalent to the same scale because Uber's getting in some trouble for this upfront pricing. What it is I'm charged per minute and per mile. The passenger is charged what Uber thinks they're going to pay. All right, and we've talked about this, is Uber can really charge whatever they want now, and this was told to passengers and drivers in the new terms of service, so we all agree to this. They can charge based on the affluence of the area, okay, or basically whatever they'd like, all right? So the passenger may pay 20% more. We're paid standard, mileage and per minute, and there's that price discrepancy. It's the discrepancy that's coming with upfront pricing. In just 1 minute. Just some iced coffee, guys. We didn't go anything special today. We got some iced coffee. It's good stuff. But so if there's a price discrepancy here, we just want to be paid a clear amount, all right? And passengers don't want to be overcharged, which they kind of are being overcharged if they're paying higher than a standard per minute and per mile, okay? So if you're a driver, if you're considering driving, you may not be getting as much as Uber is taking, okay? Because there is that discrepancy. I will say again, disclosure, I want to say again, guys, I don't want to accuse Uber of doing anything intentionally manipulative, all right? I don't know what's going on with their system. This is a complicated software network, guys. I'm not going to say they're intentionally manipulating their system, all right? I am going to say that there's been documented examples of upfront pricing discrepancies, okay? There's been plenty of examples in different markets from different drivers, passengers, that show that there's a discrepancy between what the driver gets and what the passenger gets. So whatever's going on, it just needs fixed because we need fair, clear pricing. Rob, it's Uber's platform, but for Lyft in general, I get few trips, and usually they are 10 or 6 to 10 miles away, minimum, opposed to Uber, where I get close trips usually. All right, that's another thing to consider, guys, is if you do want to sign up to drive for Uber and Lyft, consider Uber first because you most likely will get shorter pickups distances to your passengers versus Lyft, you may see longer pickups to your passengers. Why is that? That's market share. Okay, Uber has more users, a bigger market share. So, just based on the statistics, there's gonna be more people using Uber, so you don't have to travel as far to the person that wants their ride. Eric, this is an excellent time to start with 180 days of change. It feels like getting it on the ground floor. I think great things are coming. I am optimistically positive and would cautiously agree with you. Okay, I don't want to jinx anything, but with the 180 days of change, with rate increases in some California markets, I believe, at least that's what I've heard. Rates have already increased in a few markets in California. With, let's see what else, the in-app tipping, with shorter pay windows. Guys, that's like 5 things immediately that are helping drivers. We still have 5 months of big and small changes that are going to be announced on the Uber platform. So I kind of cautiously agree with that I think it may be a really good time to drive. But again, maybe not, and let's continue talking about why. Okay. Actually, like Rob just mentioned, I was going to talk about long ETAs on Lyft. All right, if you want to drive with Lyft, you may get those farther away requests. Randy, that's just starting Uber in New York. If it is you, Randy, I'm sorry, guys. There's a lot of comments here. I just don't want to get anyone's name mixed up. Yeah, Randy, I think you were starting in New York, right, Randy? But if you're driving for Lyft, you may have those longer pickups. And I'm not talking about 5 minutes, guys. I'm talking about 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to your passenger. That makes no business sense. All right, I'm going to tell you guys, if you're getting pickups that are 15, 20 plus minutes away, I do not advise to take them. All right. For what it's worth, I don't know if that sounds harsh, but on a business sense, consider the expenses for driving that far. When you get to your passenger, most likely they aren't going too far, okay? But again, I always like to talk about both sides of an argument. Let's talk about the other side. If you have a longer request, all right, for a pickup, maybe they'll take a longer ride if you're in a more rural area because things are spread out more. Maybe they're going to the airport and your airport is farther away. I don't know. So again, we could debate that for some time. Palm Springs, California. Okay, very cool. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Rob or Randy. I'm confusing somebody here for the New York market. Simon, that was Simon. Okay, sorry, apologies, Randy. Yeah, that was Simon that just started in Buffalo. Okay, Palm Springs. Oh, the weather difference, guys. Palm Springs. I'll take that weather. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can catch up with your comments here, guys. James commented, they really need to pay us something if we have to drive 15 plus miles to pick up someone, only to drive them 2 minutes on Lyft. Thank you for just commenting on what we're talking about with the long ETAs here on Lyft. Yeah, guys, if you're driving 5, 10, 15, like James said, 15 plus miles to a passenger, it makes sense for Lyft to subsidize that, to pay you something to help you out with that fare. Because if Lyft were to subsidize that to give you a little bit more money for that longer pickup, the passenger still gets their ride versus the driver that would cancel. Okay, you're still going to be happy with your pay, and Lyft is going to cement that network with that passenger. That passenger is going to say, well, hey, I was able to get a ride, and I typically can't get a ride out here. Okay, now you would have to weigh expenses as well. Like, hey, well, Lyft is paying me more, which is great, but I'm putting miles on the car, so we'd have to consider that as well. Franco, thanks for joining here. All right, so let's move on here. Lastly, the final negative to signing up or continuing to drive is oversaturation. There we go. Something interesting about oversaturation, guys. I have never really agreed with the argument of oversaturation to a point, okay? Let's remember, CNN Money reports that only 4% of drivers are on the Uber platform after 1 year, okay? So while some drivers may think oversaturation, honestly, the word is turnover. versus oversaturation. Oversaturation, we have a million drivers on the road. They're all waiting for a ride. No one can get a ride because there's so many drivers. When in actuality, we may be seeing that people sign up to drive. For whatever reason, it doesn't work. The money isn't working out for them. So 96 out of 100 people are falling off the platform. That leaves you with 4 drivers out of those 100 that are on the platform after 1 year. So the argument of oversaturation, I don't know if I agree with that, but again, let's look at the other side of the argument. It depends on what market you're in, okay? Firstly, rates need to be higher in some markets. Orlando, Oklahoma City, anything that's less than, I don't know, $1.50 a mile. I think someone commented last time. If you're at least below $1, rates need to be higher, okay? Oversaturation, it depends what market you're in, okay? California, I know, of course, is the hub of Uber and Lyft, so there are a lot of drivers out there, but there's a lot of passenger audience and pull to get rides from. So again, if you're measuring demand trends, if you know where to drive, if you know surge and prime time trends, you can make good money on there. Okay, but if you don't do that research, I think that's what's going to hurt you, not oversaturation. It's not doing the research, not knowing the best spots, and just going online without any research or strategy. That's what's going to hurt you most, I believe. Eric, oversaturation doesn't exist. It balances itself out. Yeah, guys, I mean, honestly, again, think about it. 4% of drivers are on the road after 1 year. Okay, it's more so turnover, but I can respect both sides of the argument there. I understand. Maybe in micro markets, in super small markets. Again, I always cite State College, Pennsylvania, because I'm familiar with that market. State College, Pennsylvania is a really, we'll say, micro market just for the university, for Penn State University. So that could get oversaturated. That I could agree with. Okay, so let's move on here, guys. Actually, before we do, leave any more comments before we move on to our next item on the itinerary here. If you have any final comments about the pros and cons of starting or continuing to drive for Uber and Lyft, please post them right now. So guys, I just want to say that we hit another record on the Your Driver Mike channel. We have 17 people in this live stream. That's a new record. It seems like every time we live stream, we get a new record. That is so awesome. It makes me really happy. It makes me really happy that we have so many people to talk about rideshare, how to succeed, right? What's the future of rideshare? And to join this hangout and roundtable to discuss strategies here. If you're new to the channel, Your Driver Mike, my name is Mike, and this channel is dedicated to the rideshare space. If you're a driver, if you're a passenger, if you're someone that's just interested in the rideshare space, consider subscribing. All right, let's move on here, guys, to our next item in the agenda, which is just scrolling away from us this way. Uber announced potential equity ownership stake in the company given to you, given to drivers. Okay, this was announced here. I'll bring this up here for you guys. By Business Insider, Uber is exploring. Here, let me take away this ticker here for you guys. Okay. Uber is exploring a way to repair its relationship with the drivers, equity in the $69 billion company. Okay. And again, reported by Business Insider. So I want to ask you guys, is this encouraging? Okay. How would this work? Is it based on experience level? Probably, right? And how they dole out equity, or stock options to drivers. Doesn't this sound familiar? What are your thoughts? It should sound familiar. So what this is really just initial discussions here, but it could make you money, okay? This can make you money that can mature, that can have valuation for years, okay? This is something that could earn you money without driving, okay? This is stock option equity in Uber, okay? Now, I'm not a financial specialist here. My background is not in finance, but anything that could give you valuation like stock in Uber, I'm imagining, once it would go public, that can earn you money, okay? And you can get it for free, okay? So what this is potentially a system that would reward drivers, maybe based on experience, to give you stock in Uber. And I want to ask you guys a question about equity. If you had to choose one, would you choose higher rates or equity? Think about that. Would you choose higher rates or equity? Hold up. Here's why equity may be the best choice. Because higher rates earn you money now. Or would you want equity, which could earn you money in the long term without driving, without expenses on your car, okay? Interesting. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Craig's List, thanks for joining. I saw you in the last live stream, I believe. How many drivers are there, do you think? Well, there are, I believe, 20,000 drivers in Pennsylvania alone, okay? Pennsylvania, we have three large markets: Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, some medium markets, State College, and some micro markets, even smaller markets, I believe. I believe it was 20 or 30,000 drivers just in Pennsylvania. That's exponentially higher in New York, in San Francisco. There are tourist markets, Orlando. I'm not sure how many drivers there are, partly because Uber keeps those statistics pretty close to their chest. They don't really divulge too much. And actually, we're going to be talking about some numbers as well today. Eric, interesting. I really like seeing these answers, guys. Craigslist says equity would be equity, but you'd have to do the math. Randy says equity. That's really cool, guys, and I'm kind of encouraged that you would say that, because I kind of feel the same way. Because equity in Uber, which again is valued at nearly 70 billion. Now they're staggering a little bit, but honestly, if we're talking about the future of rideshare, I don't see Uber going away, as a company. I don't think they're going to go away. Are they weakened? Maybe a little bit, but only culturally. Financially, I think they're still in the upswing. If they curb their culture, which I think they're doing, and again, a few of us have commented on this, I think we could see some big things from Uber in the next 5 years. As far as profitability goes, they're extending into more markets. We just saw New York, okay, having it opening up in New York. So if they curb this culture problem, which I think they're already doing, with a new CEO to come here, I think there's some good things. So if you have equity in Uber as a company, now again, this is probably going to be based on experience. You can't just sign up to drive. They're not going to give you 10,000 shares of Uber. Most likely, it's going to be based on when you signed up to drive and how many rides you've given, I would imagine. Now, it's not going to make you rich, okay? None of these stock options or whatever it is, it's not going to make you rich. Even if you're a very long time driver with tons of rides, I can't imagine that they're going to give you tons and tons of stock, but they may give you some solid equity, and if they are very proactive, may give drivers a first round option to buy stock at a lower price before an IPO. Again, I'm not sure how the finances legally work here, but from my experience, that's an option. From what I've heard, that's an option. So maybe Uber is going to say, hey, we'll give drivers a discounted stock price before an IPO. So if you do want to buy more shares in Uber, you can at a reduced price. Because real quick, guys, once Uber goes public, and they will eventually, okay, they will. They're getting back on their feet after a little stumbling here. But that's the main goal for any company. I mean, you want to go public, okay? Once they go live, if you buy up a lot of shares, if you have the money to do so, that's what I think can make you some really big money. Okay, not meant to be financial advice. Okay, I'm not a financial consultant, but that's just my opinion. I think there's some good money there potentially if you invest in Uber. What I wanted to comment on is Eric said Juno did that and got in trouble with the SEC. So Uber would have to be very careful. And what I think is really a good point there is Eric's talking about working with the SEC is if we look at this article here, which is, again, I point to the wrong side, obviously. First sentence here, Uber has met with the SEC about the possibility of giving drivers equity in the company, according to an Axios report, citing an anonymous source. So I think they're trying to do it the right way, which is great. Because I believe, like Eric said, there is some, obviously some webs to clean up when trying to do this correctly, and I'm not sure what Juno did, to work with the SEC there, but Uber's working with the SEC and trying to do this the right way and trying to see financially on the books how they're going to do this and make sure, again, they do it the right way. Craigslist. I think it'll only get better, and we as drivers get better with time. So I had a visualization of what Uber has done here since launch, okay? And I don't know if I can show you here. Okay, we'll just try to describe it for you guys. So when Uber first launched, black car service only. Prices were high, passengers were low. They were new. They were trying to drum up demand, okay? And they did that by a disruptive technology and by high pay. It was over $2, $2.50 a mile over that in New York City alone. As they scaled, okay, they were missing a market segment, which was an economy line, okay? That's when they launched UberX, okay? And they kept rates high to attract drivers. They heavily subsidized new drivers on the platform. They recruited from taxi companies. We're not going to get into all of that and the ethics of it because it was pretty a tough recruiting process to grab those drivers, but they did. They recruited drivers and they kept rates high, okay? As they scaled, as they got more and more drivers at that higher rate, they slowly tapered off rates more and more, okay, and encouraged more and more drivers to sign up through heavy subsidies and sign-on bonuses, okay? The sign-on bonuses are fine. That's great. It earns drivers some extra income, but they continue to taper off rates more and more and more and more until we bottom down, okay? If you think about this curve, it's going down, 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 and then we bottom down. It bottomed out at 30 cents a mile in Detroit, okay? I can't even start to think about 30 cents a mile because it makes no sense, okay? It makes no sense for drivers and for Uber, okay? You're lowering your own profit line by doing that. But what that did strategically, okay, is they moved their focus. They got that large pool of drivers. That 30 cents and those low markets in those low rates in all markets, that was their passenger recruiting phase, okay? They got the drivers initially, high rates, and when they lowered their rate, they were trying to get passengers, okay? Now, that caused unrest with drivers, rightfully so. But now, we are potentially on this upswing here, okay? Now we are going back up from that bottoming out, okay? And we're seeing that by some rates increasing, more proactive benefits for drivers, and things like this. Potentially, equity in the company. So I think one of the reasons supporting why to drive, want to continue to drive, because we're past that bottoming out period. I'm off the screen here. We're past that bottoming out period, okay? We've seen the lowest. We've been through it. If you drove during it, if you didn't drive through it, it was 90 cents a mile. And I'll tell you guys, I did not drive at 90 cents a mile. And no one did here in Pittsburgh, rightfully so. I think they were smart to do that, okay? But now we may be seeing an upswing with things like this, potential equity, okay? So it may be the best time to jump aboard. We'll see. Who knows? We talked about that. Simon, referral bonus in Buffalo is only $50 since they say that 5,000 people signed up in Buffalo. I wouldn't get discouraged about that, and here's why. Is while 5,000 people may have signed up in Buffalo, how many of those people are going to continue and complete the sign-on process? Okay, let's ignore that. Let's say 5,000 people have completed and are live in Buffalo, okay? 5,000 people are ready to go online today, okay? Think about the statistics again. Think about the stats. Let's take this off. Okay. Think about those stats though. If only 4% of drivers are on the platform after 1 year, how many of those drivers are going to fall off after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 3 months, after 6 months? The decline in those drivers may be large. I don't know. They may hang on a little bit longer because they're new, okay? And hopefully they find channels like this to best maximize their profit. Because honestly, and actually I'm interested, what are the rates there in Buffalo? Let me know, Simon. But the reason someone would quit these platforms is because obviously it's not working for them financially. The profits aren't worth it for the time invested. Hopefully they find channels like this because there are ways to maximize your profit. If you do research and you do specific research, okay, make sure you're researching the right thing, you can succeed, and that's what this channel is for. Now, I'm not going to pretend that you're always going to succeed, okay? Even if you do research, okay? If you're in a complete micro market when there's not a ton of demand, when your ETAs are too far, if the pay is too low, if you have that perfect storm, you won't succeed. So here's where it falls on Uber. Uber needs to create systems where we can succeed, okay? Because if we succeed, passengers get rides, Uber succeeds, okay? It's like that triangle, right? We all work together, passengers, drivers, and Uber to make this happen. That's what obviously builds a successful company, okay? And Uber has valued passengers. We know that. Uber obviously values their own profit line, but that other piece of the triangle, that's us. So they just need to make sure that rates are solid there in Buffalo, that they build a big enough passenger pool that we succeed as drivers. And if so, then everyone succeeds, and that's where the system can work. Okay. Yeah, Craigslist. I heard 90% fall off per year, pretty much. Yeah, 96 actually, or at least according to CNN Money, 96% fall off after a year. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one being money, and again, I would like to see as many people succeed as possible because I want you guys to make a good side income, or if you're really hustling and you're doing it full time, I want you to make a full time income. All right, we still have 13 people on the live stream here. That's awesome, guys. I appreciate it. We've been going for almost an hour. 30 seconds left, and we got an hour here. So, any questions that you guys have? Let's take a little time out. Any questions? Right now, we'll kind of open it up here for a open-ended Q&A before we move on. Any questions at all? We can really talk about anything, guys. And don't be shy. Feel free to please leave a comment. That's why we have a dialogue. We do these live streams so we can have a dialogue with the drivers, really about anything with rideshare here. So feel free. Randy, what app do you use to track miles? A notepad and pencil, basically. Well, in my phone. Okay, in my phone. But you can use an app. Sherpa Share, right? Sherpa Share. Am I saying that right? It's like a tongue twister. Yeah, you can use apps like Sherpa Share to. Let me see if I can get you a picture here, guys, because it's probably doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but you can also do it manually, and that's what I do. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add something here for you guys really quickly. Okay, here we go. And what this app does is exactly that. It does mileage tracking. Now, I have not used it in full. I dabbled with it, but really just kept my manual tracking. And it doesn't matter. You can do it either way. And we're going to talk about what you need to do to track your miles here in just a sec. All right, I'm just bringing it up on screen here, guys. All right, here we go. Perfect. So you can use an app like Share. This is not an endorsement. I get no revenue from this. This is just the one that first came to mind, and one that seems to be most popular. So you can use an app like this. What it does is automatically detects trips that you take in your car, and you will classify them. You will swipe left or right and say, is this a business trip for rideshare, or is this a personal trip, right? Running errands or whatever. So you can use an app like this, and again, it does that. It helps track your miles. And the reason you track your miles is for deductions. 53.5 cents a mile is what you can write off for taxes. Do not ignore a mileage log. It's very important to have those tax write-offs so you pay less in taxes at the end of the year. All right, just got a subscriber update. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate anyone that is joining your driver team here and that is subscribing. To touch on Randy's question again here, yeah, you can do it manually as well. What you want to do is write down the starting odometer reading, on your vehicle. Okay, write down the date. Really, more details is fine. It doesn't hurt you, but we're just creating a record of how many miles we're putting in a rideshare. So write down the starting odometer, write down the time that you started driving, and then at the end of the night, write down the ending odometer reading. You can write the time, you can write down the actual mileage as well if you drove 150 miles or 70 miles or whatever it may be. And just keep that log, okay? Date, odometer, time, ending odometer. You can even put any notes on there, if just for your own records. And what that's gonna do is, on the off chance that you are audited by the IRS, because come tax time, if you claim you've done 10,000 miles for rideshare, you can claim 10,000 times 53.5 cents a mile, and you can deduct that amount from your income as expenses. So you pay less on that income. Okay. Now, if the IRS were to say, "Hey, I see you claimed 10,000 miles in rideshare. Can you prove that?" And that's what they're saying. They're saying, "Can you prove that?" You can say, "Oh yeah, of course." And you can send them the documentation. Say, "Oh yeah, here it is. Here's my trip logs and all that." And if they really wanted to push, they could confirm that with Uber. Of course, they can say, "Okay, well, hey, he drove 100 miles that day." Uber says that he drove 80 miles on trips, and he must have driven 20 miles to his passengers throughout the entire day, or whatever it may be. I don't know if those numbers make sense. 100 miles a day is definitely about right if you're driving about 5 hours, I'd say. Depends how you drive. We're not going to get too much into that. John is here, Transfer 100. Take a look at Everlance. I've tried most of the logging apps. I like Everlance best, just my opinion. Appreciate that, John. For someone that uses tracking apps, I do appreciate you leaving that comment here. Yeah, you can do it manually, or you can use apps like Share, or like John says, Everlance. And he says he's using that on Android. Okay, thanks for helping out. Appreciate that. That's what it's all about, guys. Let's see here. Mile IQ. I have heard of that. Yeah, Mile IQ, Craigslist says. Adding there as well. Rude. I don't know how to pronounce that. Rude Cass, maybe? Rude Cass? How do you feel about 75 cents a mile driving in Denver? I don't like anything less than $1. I don't like anything less than $1. I can't feel comfortable with anything less than $1. Bobby, who I believe drives in the Orlando market, talks to me about 65 cents a mile. And hey, we got another subscriber. Thank you. Talks to me about 65 cents a mile in Orlando, and what I tell him and what I tell anybody, really in any market, regardless of rates, is you need to capitalize on demand trends, okay, to maximize your profit, all right? Now, if you're driving full-time, is a completely different strategy if you drive part-time. I drive part-time, but a lot of the strategies are similar, but there are some nuanced differences here. Excuse me. But 75 cents a mile, I don't like anything less than $1, okay? 75 cents a mile, 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 Lots of lovely hair. You can also add up your miles on your trips with Uber because they now have detailed accounts in your app. Okay, appreciate that. Is that just on trip miles, or is that in transit miles as well? Because I know it's usually reported as on trip miles, but you can also deduct your in transit miles to your passenger as well. Randy's an Apple guy. Well, we're using the MacBook Pro here, so there you go. If you're an Apple user. All right, let's catch up with these comments here because I want to see what you guys are saying. All right, let's see here, guys. I missed here, Eric. I think the sign-on bonuses will be going down and the rates will go up, possibly. Yeah, we've already seen some sign-on bonuses going down here, and some rates going up as well. That's interesting. Randy, yeah, I like the MacBook Pro. It's a new machine that we bought here specifically, really for this channel here. I needed a new one anyway, and I love it. Really like it, guys. And actually, I mean, in the off chance you're shopping for a computer, we have a link below to the one that I'm using. So lastly here, guys, as we transition to the tail end of this live stream, and again, I really appreciate you joining the live stream here, guys. I love doing this, have a lot of fun talking to you. If you're new to the channel, this channel is dedicated to the rideshare space. If you're a driver, if you're a passenger, if you happen to just be interested in the rideshare space, consider subscribing. As we move to the tail end of this live stream here, we're going to talk about the future of Uber and Lyft. We're going to look into the future here, guys, and try to predict what's going to happen, what's coming down the road, and improvements for drivers that could really help you decide yes or no, should I drive? Dano Smith, thanks for joining. I saw you in the last one, I believe. Recap of what I missed. Let's see. Well, yeah, recap for anyone that happens to just be jumping on here for the live stream. We talked about, is it the best time to drive for Uber and Lyft? Yes or no. There's some factors like tipping, decreased wait time windows for payment. We talked about upfront pricing, long ETAs on Lyft that could discourage you from signing up. There's a lot to consider there. We talked about equity with Uber. Uber is considering giving some equity to drivers, stock ownership options in the company. It's most likely based on experience and rides given, but equity could be a good revenue stream, at least passive revenue stream, to earn you some money on a company that we drive for. We talked about scaling, how Uber initially launched, black car service, high prices, they bottomed out to low prices, 30 cents a mile, and potentially now we're in the upswing here with higher fares and benefits to drivers, which is encouraging. Now we're talking about the future of rideshare. What's going to happen here with Uber and Lyft? I want to hear your thoughts, guys. And as I go get my charger for this computer, leave your thoughts here. I should have left it plugged in like last time, guys. One sec here. Let me get my charger. Leave a comment. What's going to happen here with the future of Uber and Lyft, right? Super fast. We got it. It wasn't like last time. If you guys were in the other live stream, we did a little timeout while we waited on some Postmates to deliver. So, guys, where is the future of rideshare going? Okay, are we on the upswing? Do you agree with that? Do you think this is the upswing for drivers? How is that going to affect passengers? What is Lyft going to do to keep up? Oh, and by the way, let me show you something here. I want to show you something that's really interesting. Check this out. As reported by the USA Today. Look at this and tell me what you think. This is showing a loss in market share from Uber. losing to Lyft. Okay, and this is a trend in the last 2 years here. Okay, and if this continues, you can see where the rideshare market is going to go and why Uber so desperately needed a change, not just for its culture, which was, as we saw, a pretty damaging culture, but also they needed a change for profitability and market share. Take a look. Craigslist says rates will go up a lot like the old days, and we as drivers should be making more money. I agree, we as drivers should be making more money. How much though? That's debatable, and that's really interesting. I do not think rates are going to go up to the initial days of Uber. I believe when Uber first launched here in Pittsburgh about 2.5, maybe almost 3 years ago, rates were at that $2+ a mile. Now, I don't think they're going to get that high, but right now it's 110 a mile here in Pittsburgh. I would be very encouraged to see more and more markets increase rates. I don't think we're going to really get to that 225, 250 a mile, but I think that we may see more fair rates. Okay, rates were pretty extravagant in some markets when they first launched, again, to really recruit drivers, and some drivers were making really, really good money. But to the degree that rates increase, I think we'll see surge decrease. Okay, because if rates are, let's make it easy. If rates are $1 a mile, and you have constant surge of 2.0, 2.2, that's giving you $2.25 a mile, which is fantastic, right? Now, if Uber were to say, all right, well, yeah, you know what, we need to increase rates, I think we'll see that kind of proportional change here. Dano, I'm not really catching your comment there, Dano. Craigslist says, I understand Uber has 2 years of cash to burn until they are out. I don't think so. I mean, if there was any finances on that, post it in the comments. But Uber is always, what's the word, generating cash through funding. Okay, and they've had multiple rounds of funding for hundreds of millions of dollars. I think that especially now with the change in culture and leadership, that I don't think they're going to run out of cash because I think that more VCs and angel investors are going to be pro-Uber, whereas with Kalanick, they were kind of hesitant to continue to invest in Uber, especially after what, like a $2 billion loss in China. I think that VCs are going to be really encouraged to reinvest. So I don't think they're going to run out of cash, but if there's more info on that, feel free to post a comment. Dano, instead of Uber Pool, maybe they can use a frequent flyer discount to passengers that use it often, especially if it's used from going to work daily. They do have stuff like that, which is really interesting. I think it's Uber Commute, which are designated commute lines for passengers going to generally specific areas. So let's say if I live, in the east end of Pittsburgh here or wherever, and I work downtown, much like a lot of people, they would work downtown. Uber Commute would say, all right, you need to go to this general pickup area, and we will drop you off in a general drop-off area, which is downtown. Sounds very familiar to bus lines, but that's kind of what it is, from my understanding. I haven't heard too much of it in a while, but it was something like that. And they were discounted rides because, again, you had to walk to a designated pickup area, and then you had to walk to your specific drop-off location. But that's what it was. It was something similar to that. It was a commute program, and it was discounted, I believe. Okay. Yeah, I do agree, though, that now we don't have Pool here in Pittsburgh, but there needs to be systems that make drivers money and that passengers are happy with. Not all passengers like sitting with someone else in a pool ride, and in a lot of markets it defaults as Uber Pool, and some passengers may not realize that. And they're pretty inexpensive per mile, so it's better for the driver to drive Uber X. Yeah, I don't love Uber Pool. All right, guys, we have about 10 minutes left here. Um, let's touch on this chart again here, which is this way. What do you think? What do you think? What is the future of Uber and Lyft? Is this trend going to continue? Check it out. Share of transactions, okay, which is how much money, how many credit card transactions are being done on Uber and Lyft. We know that these are private companies, so we cannot see their detailed analytics and their finances. So what this company did, TXN Solutions, is they analyzed transactions, credit card transactions, and the trends and data from those credit card transactions, and from that gave us a estimate of market share. And you can see here, June of 2015, Uber had a 90% stake in the rideshare market. They were doing 90% of those rides. And it's really interesting. As I signed up to drive October of 2015, that was about what? 4 months after this report was issued. Well, the June 15th of 2015, I started driving a few months after that. So I was basically driving in a market that most generally had a 90% Uber to Lyft ratio, all right? And I will echo that. I pretty much saw that, okay? There was really only Uber, at least here in Pittsburgh, okay? Um, and it probably depends on launch dates and stuff like that, but they had a 90% stake. Now, 2 years later, Lyft has cut into that and has taken basically a 25% share away from Uber. They've over doubled their market share in 2 years. Okay, and I would say that's probably accelerating now. You know, since the curve on that was probably really sharp in this past year or so, Lyft has really started taking away market share. Eric, pool cost Uber over $1 million a week in San Francisco. That's true. Yeah, I have seen guys that Uber has lost heavy subsidies to try to encourage passengers to take pool, to try to encourage drivers to take pool. I get it in theory, but if the platform doesn't work, if the platform doesn't work on a customer service end, if it doesn't work on a financial end for drivers, it's not going to work. So we'll see what happens with that. Lots of lovely hair. Lucky for you all. Pool sucks unless there's Quest. Quest are city specific goals here. Yeah, so lastly here, guys, as we close up quickly, John has a comment here. What do you guys think about this pie chart and the shifting market share? We've talked about this before. The future of rideshare. Is the future of rideshare a 50-50 market? Is it going to be 50% rides of Uber, 50% rides of Lyft? Can Lyft do that? Do we think we're going to get to that point here? Interesting, because Lyft has almost copied everything that Uber has done, right? So in theory, if they continue to do that, are they going to be 50-50? Especially since Lyft is making their driver improvements as well. John says, transfer 100. Squirrel Hill Tunnel and Fort Pitt Tunnel commute rate. Yeah, the two major tunnels in and out of Pittsburgh here, Squirrel Hill Tunnel and Fort Pitt Tunnel. That is a lot of commuting there. A lot of people going through there. Craigslist, a really good point here. What if Amazon jumps into the market? That would be a game changer. And interesting, guys, is who isn't jumping into this market right now? Okay, who isn't? We know that Google was the pioneer of autonomous tech for cars. Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, obviously Tesla, they're all developing autonomous tech. But who else is really jumping into the rideshare market? Would you be surprised if I said Tesla? Tesla rideshare? Really? Well, Tesla has an Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla has announced interest in the rideshare market. Caveat here, guys, is he would like to have a rideshare platform for Teslas. So I don't think it's really to cut into the Uber and Lyft market, but it's definitely caught the attention of other CEOs and other companies. You guys are commenting on Amazon. Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon. I haven't heard anything about him extending into the rideshare market. If you guys have heard anything about that, feel free to post a comment below. Craigslist. Think of their customer base. It would blow Uber out of the water. They are doing a lot of interesting things in the tech space. I think you guys have heard about the drone deliveries and whatnot. So that would be interesting to see if Bezos and the Amazon team would move into the rideshare space. So guys, as we wrap up here, I want to thank you again for joining this live stream here, guys. As we celebrate 500 subscribers because of you, each and every one of you wants to learn, wants to be better, wants to be more educated in the rideshare space, and wants an open dialogue about the rideshare space. Again, the channel is not me just telling you guys about rideshare, right? It's all of us continually learning about rideshare as things change, because this is an ever-changing system. It's about all of us, me helping you, you helping me, making sure we all succeed, okay, and learning new ways to succeed and maximize our profits. So again, thank you guys so much for 500 subscribers. We will post details about that giveaway soon here, so subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and follow on Twitter if you'd like as well, at your driver Mike. Guys, if you're getting value from this live stream, if you've enjoyed this live stream so far, if you enjoy any videos on the channel, can you please leave a like on the live stream here? If you're watching the rebroadcast, please leave a like if you would like to do so. I'd really appreciate that. What that does is gets more eyes on this live stream, gets more eyes on this video, and ultimately gets more people on the Your Driver team, so we can have an even bigger dialogue in the rideshare space. So if you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to share it out, leave a like, whatever you'd like to do, and leave a comment as well if you'd like to do so. All right, comments here. Let's see. Hey, Craigslist, following up here for us, guys. FYI, Minneapolis, tipping is working great. I have made a lot more this past week. A good way to remind people of tipping is roll up a wad of cash, put a $5 bill visible, and put it in view. Minneapolis, you guys have in-app tipping now. That's kind of interesting. So you could display cash to encourage electronic tips, maybe. That is a strategy to encourage tips in general, right? I won't do anything like that unless someone tips me. If I do get a tip, I will typically leave it out, kind of in my center console area, and that sometimes does encourage tipping. But I have heard some drivers, especially if you have a tip cup, tip jar, to put some seed money in there, put some money in there to encourage more tips. Yeah, thanks for that. Lots of lovely here says thanks for that tip, Craigslist. Yeah, appreciate that, Craigslist. Thank you very much. Randy, thanks everyone. Craigslist, it is crazy. My tips are about $5 to $6 in app always. That is awesome. And keep us updated on that, Craigslist. Feel free to post on any videos that we do in the future, or if we see you in some live streams going forward. Keep us updated. We've had a few other drivers in Houston and Seattle talk about in-app tipping as well. So keep us posted. That's really encouraging. Guys, do you hear this? If you're watching on the live stream, if you're watching on the rebroadcast, it's happening already, okay? Supporting the argument of, yeah, now's the best time to sign up and drive or continue driving, because tips are coming to everybody. And hopefully we all see this kind of success that Craigslist is seeing here, that tipping is happening. Not only is it available, but passengers are tipping. And strategy here, guys, you can even casually mention this to your passenger. If they ask you how you like driving for Uber, if they ask you anything about Uber, what are the benefits, you can say, oh, well, They recently added in-app tipping, which you'll see on your end screen when you have to rate me. I think that's so great that Uber has finally added in-app tipping. Really helps with their earnings, and it's a good way for passengers to show their appreciation. Just say it like that. And the more casual you are with it, the better. You don't want it to sound salesy. You don't want it to sound forced. Do not push them to tip. But if you just simply say something like that, say, oh, Uber's starting to raise rates in some markets, which is pretty cool. They're not raising it too much, so don't worry, you're not going to pay a lot more. But the big thing is they've just added in-app tipping, which I really like as a driver. So you could say something like that. Dark Road Run has joined the live stream. You joined late, man. Oh, I wish you joined earlier. Dark Road Run, who is... Maybe we can get your first name, man. Call you by your first name or something, Or buddies. Dark Road has jumped on the live stream here. Better late than never. Nice to have you. Love your channel. You're always in a good mood. I'm in a good mood because I like what I talk about. I love the tech. I really like the challenge of making a side income for myself, for seeing your successes, right? I don't want to see you fail. I don't want anyone to make less than X dollars per hour. I want you to make the most dollars per hour, and there's ways to do that by doing research, right? It makes me happy when I see success stories, when I hear that you guys get value from this channel. That's why I do it. I do it to share something that I am passionate about, that I'm seeing right out this window. Right out this window, guys, is I'm seeing Uber happening right now. We see those autonomous cars, okay? Love them or hate them, it's only a small segment of Uber, right? The big segment of Uber is us, the drivers. When I started again, October of 2015, as a way to make some side income, and it's helped me with whatever it may be, bills or whatever. And I think that's there's a lot of window to succeed there if you do it right. Okay, there's a window to earn a good amount of money per hour. I've shown you guys $50, $60 an hour is possible. Okay, rare but possible. And if it is possible, I don't want you to miss it. I don't want you to miss that opportunity when you can make $50 or $60 an hour. Step outside your door and invest 90 minutes in driving for a big event or something, and you can make some big money. And that's what I want to do on this channel here, is help you guys out. So as we close here, guys, again, here, let's take this off. All right, let's bring this back up here. There we go. Yeah, guys, join the team. Join the Your Driver team. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. Leave your final thoughts here. Randy, thanks for joining here. Yeah, we're wrapping it up. I appreciate you joining. Any final thoughts here, guys? We have about just a few minutes. Okay, so leave your final thoughts here as we wrap it up here. Again, I want to express my gratitude for you guys subscribing and for checking out the live stream or watching on the rebroadcast here. 30 seconds, we'll be streaming for an hour and a half, which is right on schedule, guys. Perfect. Any final thoughts, guys? Oh, and just a few housekeeping things. We're going to try to live stream just about every week. Let me know if these Saturdays work for you, from 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know if it works. I work a little bit later on weekdays, so I'm not sure if weekdays would work for live streaming. But if this Saturday time slot works for you, we're going to try to do it every week. And also, you may see some summary videos get posted as well. For obviously, if someone doesn't want to watch a 90-minute live stream, I'm going to post separate videos highlighting what we talked about. So you probably saw that last time. Is we talk about things naturally here, as they come conversationally. But if someone just wants quick snippets of the main points of our live streams, I will try to post separate videos about those subjects as well. Dark Road, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Lots of lovely hair. Absolutely. Thank you for joining too. Lovely hair says, thanks for taking time to share with us. Absolutely, guys. It's my pleasure. All right, guys. We've passed the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. So as I wrap up here again, I can't say thank you enough for 500 subscribers, for joining the live stream. or watching on the rebroadcast here. Your driver, Mike. I hate leaving. I hate leaving, guys, but I have to. I gotta go. Until next time, thank you so much for watching the live stream, guys. I love talking with you. Talk to you on Twitter. Talk to you in the comment section. Until then, I will see you next time. See you later.